So Brayden Schenn was with the Philadelphia Flyers since 2011 up to 2017. He did get drafted by the LA Kings and he was with them for like 9 games throughout the 2 seasons, so not, much. But he was with Philadelphia for the beginning part of his career, right? And the interesting thing about Brayden Schenn is during the draft in 2017, he ended up being drafted to the Blues. And in exchange for Brayden Schenn, St. Louis gave Philadelphia 2 first-round draft picks. The Philadelphia Flyers used those draft picks to get Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost. Last night at the Philadelphia Flyers game, there was all these rumors going around, Morgan Frost was going to be traded, and then it was Joel Farabee. And evidently, both of them, after 7 seasons in Philadelphia, were traded to the Calgary Flames. Now you're thinking, hell, how does this relate to the Blues? Well, it relates to the Blues in a multitude of ways. Trading Brayden Schenn was one of the pivotal points of my childhood that I remember where people were really upset about this. He had obviously a lot of potential. He wasn't at the peak of his career, and people thought that the Philadelphia Flyers organization was making a mistake by doing so. Now, having 2 first-round draft picks is humongous. It's huge. I mean, listen, we could utilize that right now. But at the time, what the Blues were getting in Brayden Schenn, hey, listen, I believe it was worth it. But both sides kind of doubted, did the Flyers fleece the Blues? Did the Blues fleece the Flyers? No one really knew how this was going to pan out. Well, today, January 31st, 2025, I have the answer for you. Brayden Schenn and the St. Louis Blues won that trade. You see, there's something called the Stanley Cup. And in the 2018-2019 season, 2 seasons, Brayden Schenn's second season here in St. Louis, he was able to hoist the Stanley Cup in TD Garden. And not only that, last season, he became the captain of the St. Louis Blues. For Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost, while, yeah, they've had good seasons, they didn't win a cup, and none of them have leadership positions. And I know that's not how we determine, who's won and who's lost. But let's be honest, the Blues won and the Flyers lost. And that was a really big deal. And I'm seeing Schenn's name all throughout Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it today. And people are genuinely like, we finally have the answer to who won this trade. Personally, I think the Blues won the trade the moment that they won the Stanley Cup, right? But right now, I know the Blues are not the best team. They're kind of similar to Philadelphia in terms of where they're at point-wise. But the one thing that I will say is different about these 2 organizations is the Blues won the Cup not too long ago. The Philadelphia Flyers have not. And they're seemingly not close to doing so anytime soon. It is funny, though, how you have 2 first-round draft picks from a trade. And I'm not saying that these guys were busts in a sense, because I feel like that's not the appropriate way to describe it, but it just didn't pan out fully how I guess the Flyers organization expected it to. Now, do I think the Flyers would have won the cup if they kept Brayden Schenn? Probably not, because they didn't have enough talent on the team at the time, I believe. But they could have maybe I see it's weird because it's like, oh, they could have done this. I don't care what they could have, would have, should have done. At the end of the day, the St. Louis Blues were able to get a guy that played a pivotal part for us in the playoffs and helped us win Lord Stanley. So I'm not upset about it. Plus, he is our captain. It's funny. Schenn and I have spoke a couple times every time that he's come here to Philadelphia. He's very close to playing his 1,000th NHL career game, by the way. And I did ask him last season, I was like, how's it feel, when you come back to Philadelphia? How does that feel for you? And he's like, it's just like any other game now. And I can respect that because what the Flyers did to him, and I know that it wasn't like a personal thing, but just to be blindsided like that during the draft. And I don't know. That to me always bothered me with how they did it. And after his brother Luke was dealt away, they both played together in Philadelphia. I just feel like he kind of just didn't look the same. But I mean, at the end of the day, the Blues did win this trade. I feel better now knowing that the draft picks that we gave up, it wasn't like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a player that was in that same draft class because that was 2017's draft. I think it was Cale Makar in that draft. Like, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't of that kind of significance. I don't think Matthews was in that draft. He might have been. Was it Swayman? Oh, either way, the Blues, like, now I feel better about that. It was a good draft class, 2017. That was like a really strong draft class. Anyways,